For her assault, Logan and her crew were detained by Egyptian military and flown back to the US. But Logan later returned to cover the continuing unrest, saying in this television interview that reporting was in her blood.
Professionally, I feel like I failed because I didn't deliver, and I take that responsibility very seriously. We're still working on the story, but fundamentally it's in my blood to be there and to be on the street and to be listening to people and to do the best reporting that I can.
I want to move on to another issue that does involve a sexual offence, but involves the case overseas and the Egyptian revolution. The case I mentioned on air when I was talking to Richard Arnold yesterday, I was absolutely horrified, first of all, by the story that the CBS reporter Lara Logan was sexually assaulted and beaten in the crush at Tahrir Square when she was set upon by a mob. She was separated from her crew, apparently, and she was rescued eventually by a group of women and Egyptian soldiers and flew back to America and is currently, I'm told, recovering in a hospital. But I said yesterday and also on Twitter, some of the worst, most putrid reporting I have seen, some of the opinion pieces, some of the blogs have been absolutely shocking. There was one titled Lara Logan, CBS reporter in war zone, it girl, raped repeatedly amid Egyptian celebrations. And I mentioned the LA Weekly correspondent Simone Wilson. She talked about Logan's shocking good looks and ballsy knack for pushing her way to the heart of the action. But then she got to the assault itself, and she went on to imagine how it happened. And these are her words. These are the words from a female reporter writing about another woman who was a rape victim. She said, in a rush of frenzied excitement, some Egyptian protesters apparently consummated their newfound independence by sexually assaulting the blonde reporter. And it goes on. There's another one, a man called Nir Rosen, a fellow at the New York University Center for Law and Security. And he said on Twitter, he's since resigned his job apparently, he said, it's always wrong, that's obvious, but I'm rolling my eyes at all the attention she'll get. She's so bad, I ran out of sympathy for her. Later on, he backpedaled. He said, I apologise and take it back. He said, joking with friends, got out of line, which I didn't want to, when I didn't want to back down. I forgot Twitter is not exactly private. He missed the point, of course. The sexual assault isn't exactly a great piece of joking material either. On the line now, what it says, of course, is back to something like the 50s. If she deserved it, she was asking for it. And this is a serious sexual assault. Whether she's famous or whether she's not. On the line of the manager of the New South Wales Rape Crisis Centre, Karen Willis, good afternoon.
Hi Darren, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm glad some other people have picked up on this. I noticed in Crikey that Ruby Hamad has come out with a piece against this, but I mean, this is extraordinary, some of the reaction from correspondents, especially women correspondents, to this victim.
It's absolutely unbelievable when your colleague who rang earlier, I hadn't caught up with these Twitters and comments, and she told me, I just was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that in this day and age that we could still express those sorts of views and attitudes. And they're just the hypocrisy of it. We've heard quite a number of pretty awful stories about journalists being attacked in Egypt and in other locations, and everybody's rightly outraged. But all of a sudden, because it's a woman who's been sexually assaulted, it's, well, she was asking for it. It really just smacks of, women shouldn't be in these locations. We should all be in our homes and be quiet and probably not blonde or pretty, because if we do anything other than those things, then we're encouraging sexual violence. It's a 50. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit lost for words on how outrageous this
join the club.
is.
Look, I've read some other stuff too. One says, another one questioned, now here, a regular cable news guest named Debbie Schlussel. She says she questioned what a blonde American woman was doing among the Muslim animals in Egypt. So she's not only slagging women, she's slagging every
as well.
And she's a racist as well. She's denigrating Logan and denigrating the Islamic people.
Absolutely, and women have the right to go wherever they like, to do their job, to do what needs to be done, and the threat of violence for that is never acceptable. And I don't, like any idea that because you go into a particular location, you should expect and deserve to be sexually assaulted. I mean, people travel through, particularly Egypt, all the time. It's a great place to go. and the idea that if you're blonde or you're pretty, that's what you're going to expect when you get there.
Well,
an absolute insult to those people, and of course an appalling statement on what those people think women's role
it gets
in
worse.
our society.
It said first of all, it said, so sad, too bad, no one told her to go there, she knew the risks. Well, she was told by a boss to go there, she was a journalist, and it says what blonde American woman was doing there, she was doing her job. And it says she should have known what Islam is all about, now she knows, as if Egypt is full of crazed deviates.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yep, speechless. As you say, racism, sexism, ridiculous ideas, blame the victim. It just goes on and on. It defies explanation, and you would really think that people who are in the media and who are part of current thought and thinking and have a good understanding of what's going on in the world would at least get that every person, has, journalists have the right to go and report. That's what's really important about a democracy. And to say that some should and shouldn't, what are they going to say? The same thing about the men who were assaulted there, that they were asking for it as well. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Ms. Willis, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Darren.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Manager of New South Wales Rape Crisis Centre, Karen Willis. It is an extraordinary situation here. Some of these comments, they're so bad. We'll be talking about Scott Morrison's comments after 5 o'clock about Muslims, and he's actually got himself into terrible trouble, and rightly so, some of his comments. Look at that. But on this issue now, do you believe that, that here's a woman, a female journalist, has been sexually assaulted in Egypt while she's doing her job, and yet she is getting blamed for it for some way because she happens to be an attractive woman. As I said, this is thinking from Neanderthal times. 9600 693 13 13 32.